All right, all right. Welcome, everybody. What's going on? Week one.
Welcome, everyone. Cheyenne here.
And Andres here. We're going to talk to you about the foundation of the authentic authority and the foundation of your next 90 days. It's going to be amazing. We're so excited that you're here.
Yes, we're honored to have you with us. Really excited to start diving in. So, without further ado,
let's do it. So building the foundation, what makes a solid foundation? As you can see here, we got this tree with the biggest roots you can imagine. And you honestly are only as strong as your foundation. So we want to make sure you get this right. This module is so important. Don't think that is not as important just because it's not tactical or hands-on. Mindset is literally the main thing that separates like success from failure. So let's just get started.
Okay, so before we even jump into anything, we just want to make sure that your attention and your focus is completely on the lesson at hand. Close all tabs, notifications, and social media. Of course, there are a lot of things on the device you may be on, whether it's your phone or laptop, that are going to try and demand and steal your attention. So just for the next 90 minutes, we just ask that this be where your focus and attention lies, and please put everything else to the side. Second thing is, at the very end of the lesson, we are going to have a Q&A section, and that is where you are able to ask any questions that you may have from the entire lesson. So we just ask that you grab maybe a notepad and pen, or maybe if you're on your laptop, you can use your phone for some notes.
That's right.
Write down any things that you have a question about or a comment about, and we will definitely address that at the very end of the lesson. And the last thing, please listen attentively and immerse yourself with both feet in. So again, obviously, bringing your attention and focus to just this one area, this lesson right now, and just immerse all of you and have an open mind. You will be hearing a lot of new concepts and new things, and they may be kind of out of your comfort zone or may sound strange. So yes, just go in with an open mind and an open heart, and yes, let's get cracking.
Let's get cracking. All right, so what is focus? A lot of people don't really understand how focus works, but it's a magnifier. Literally is, the difference between you getting 2 times the result or getting 10 times the result. And the best analogy I could think of to illustrate the power of focus is this magnifying glass. If you've ever done this outside, you will know that without the magnifying glass, just the rays of the sun just hit whatever object, leaf, or thing that you're looking at, but nothing happens. There's no smoke, there's no fire, there's no heat to that intensity. But what happens as soon as you put all that heat and all that light rays into just one single point? Boom, it catches on fire. And so I want you to really understand that focus is a magnifier, and for you to get focus, we're going to look at a few key things that we'll do, that you'll do to make sure that the focus actually ends up increasing your productivity like never before.
It definitely will. Okay, so what we're going to cover in this lesson, there's 3 different sections. The first section is a bird's eye view of the authentic authority, and here is basically where we're just going to show you the breakdown of the next 90 days for the next 12 weeks, how it's divided up, and what are the main core sections of that you need to be looking out for. The second part is how to approach this mentorship program. So again, this is more about your mind state, your emotional state that we want you to enter into this program with. Again, it's a lot of new concepts, probably many of which have never been brought to your attention before. Probably not things that your family, maybe, hopefully they did, but for the most of us, I know in my case, that was not the case. So probably things that your family, your school, your community did not teach you. So come into it with an open mind and an open heart. And the last one is putting on the new self. So here we're basically going to be talking about getting to know the current habits and routines and personality that you identify yourself as having, and how to transform that into the person that you need to become to come out of these 90 days in the most successful and productive way possible.
Exactly. Exactly. So we're going to show you the bird's eye view of the authentic authority, just like this eagle, just looking at it right from the top, just so you get a quick overview of what you can expect and how you can get prepared for it. Because there's some things that you might not think to do them that way, but through trial and error and through all of the clients that we've managed and we've worked with, we've seen that this is the best way to go about it, because it pulls you from week to week to week, and you're able to just have a solid 6-figure plus foundation on really that is long term as well. So let's get started on telling you some of the things that are important.
Yeah, so important things to understand. So before we even get into the different sections of authentic authority, we think it's very important that you just understand these key concepts and keep them in mind as we move forward.
Yes.
So the authentic authority is not a magic pill that will change your life overnight, primarily because a magic pill doesn't exist. Trust me, we've looked. Anything truly worth doing takes a great deal of time and effort. And so this program has been designed to provide you with the lifelong foundations of your business and overall life. So, we've been in the online space for quite a few years now. We've come across many different courses, programs, different entrepreneurs who they do a lot of promising of results very, very quickly. And when we were a lot more naive, not hopeful, more naive, we believed this. And, our journey became a means to an end. We really just wanted to get to an end result without even really having a clear vision on what we even wanted, nonetheless. But we just wanted a magic pill. We wanted, how are we going to get to our goal as quick as possible? And everything else we didn't really care about. And we found out very quickly that it's just not true. Anything that's worth having, anything worth doing, anything of substance is going to take time. It's going to take patience. It's going to take a lot of love and nurturing. That's just the way it is. I mean, you wouldn't treat your relationships like this. You wouldn't treat the relationship with your spouse, just trying to get things over with. You need to be present every single day and love the journey with that partner, right?
Yes,
so
100%.
Second thing, this program will likely make you question much of what you think you know about yourself, others, and the world at large. So be prepared to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, as you will definitely be pushed outside of your comfort zone.
Definitely.
This has been obviously a big one for us as well.
Oh man, yeah, we can't begin to tell you. This one's been huge.
Yes, and it's still happening.
Still happening every single day as we push ourselves and as we grow into a newer version of ourselves, which we'll dive deeper into the alchemy of self and how to reprogram your brain and a little bit of the science of it so you understand. But just know that you will be going through times, throughout this program and through the things that we tell you to do that will not feel comfortable, that will not feel natural, that will make you question things, that will make you doubt, that will make you just want to throw it all away and just literally go back to the 9 to 5. But know that it's okay. Know that it's expected, because you are growing and you got to embrace it. It's good. It's a good thing.
Exactly. It won't feel like it at first, but it absolutely is. We're a living testament to that. We're not where we were 2-3 years ago. Thank God for that. But we're learning each and every day to get outside of that comfort zone and use it as a trigger to know that, wow, we're going into territory where most people don't go. And that means you're going to get results that most people don't get.
That's right.
And the last one, the amount of effort and dedication you put into this program will, of course, directly affect the results that you obtain. While learning new concepts is imperative, and information without implementation is useless, you must do the work and take action in order to invoke real change. So, it should be obvious that the amount of effort you put into anything is going to affect the results that you obtain, but we just want to reiterate that because, on the internet, especially in the modern day on social media, there is so much information out there.
Yeah.
There's a sea of information. And information is great, knowledge is great, but if it's not information that you're actually planning to take action on, we sometimes forget that part. Learning involves 2 steps: the acquiring of knowledge and then actually putting the knowledge into action. True learning and change has those 2 parts, and we often forget the second part. So if you want to achieve, amazing results out of these 90 days and get the best possible outcome out of this journey,
yes,
then implementation is absolutely crucial.
Yeah. 1000%. All right, let's keep going here.
So step one, we're going to get into now the different parts of the Authentic Authority actual program, a little bit of the breakdown. So step one is, of course, the vision, and that's where you are right now in week 1, and this will also carry over into week 2 next week. In the vision, there are basically 3 main takeaways that you're going to get from that, and we're going to dive into the 6 visionary levels, the life map, and the daily ritual. Again, these are things we're going to get really more in depth into next week. This is where you're going to be taking a lot more action into really creating a long-term, short-term and long-term really, vision for your business and how that ties into your overall life, a really holistic vision, because we truly believe that they're all connected.
All connected.
The mind, body, spirit, all these things are connected.
Everything's connected.
You cannot leave one out without the other.
That's right.
And so this week is more about just setting the stage for your mindset, and then next week we'll get more into the granular of the vision.
For sure. Step 2 is going to be the gift, and this is going to run for 3 weeks. This is absolutely, yes, it's 3 weeks. It is absolutely key. 4 weeks, sorry. From 3 all the way to 6, exactly. So this is key because we're going to look at the avatar, the offer, and the message. And please know that this alone is going to get you to understand how to attract new prospects into your business, how to give them the right offer, the right lead magnet, the right carrot, that you're going to wave in front of them so they'll come to you. If you understand this module alone and you have a clear vision of what you want for your life and your business, literally with just this tool alone, we've seen huge results. We've been perfecting this system. We've learned very in depth about the avatar and who you want to serve, about what really takes to make an irresistible offer, because there's many offers out there, but if it's not irresistible, if people don't really want it, one that makes them be almost like drooling for it because it's so attractive, then you would not be able to get outstanding results. So we're here to ensure that you understand who exactly you want to work with, how to connect with them, how to have a message that not only sells them, because everyone does that. This is a message that's different, that's holistic, completely different to what most people do out there in the marketplace. And, when you can understand what is that gift that you're going to give to the world, that intersects with what they want, that intersects with your passion, all of this stuff will make the gift, and you're going to kill it with this.
Exactly. Absolutely. Step 3, the voice. And this takes place week 7 to 9. So that's 3 weeks. And getting to this stage, again, going back to what Andres says, you have to dial in step 1 and 2 first. Those are really going to be the key factors in the progress of your business and how people respond to it, how much they value it, and how they're going to be attracted to you. And only then when the messaging avatar and the offer, the irresistible offer is dialed in, will you be moving on to the voice. And this is basically where you're going to be now sharing that holistic message with the ideal avatar and sharing that irresistible offer with them. And so the 3 stages of the voice are 12 psychological triggers, authenticity, and storytelling. And these are basically the most effective ways to really hit, the minds and hearts of the ideal client in a way that they're going to really stop, listen to what you have to say, connect with you, and really want you to be the one that delivers the ideal outcome that they're looking for to them.
Yeah. And then finally, the guide. This is, so excited for this 3 weeks, this last 3 weeks, because everything comes together. You're going to understand how your brand ties with everything else that you've been doing. Your conversion mechanism, because those are your funnels. Those are the customer journey, essentially, that you will be guiding your ideal clients or your ideal buyers through in order to not only build rapport, trust, and authenticity, but also build immense value, so that when you ask for that sale, when you ask for, whatever it is that you're selling, advice, or you're selling products, or you're doing both, or even a program like ours, you are able to do it so smoothly because everything has been engineered for them to just walk in and be completely natural. And of course, finally scaling, where we give you, some more tips and more in depth on how to go to the next level, and some things that you can automate, ways to track things, ways to hire people. We're going to go really deep into just how to get to the next level, so that even when you don't have us, by your side, you can keep going like this, with power, with confidence, and just become unstoppable in your business, because you're not building a business that will give you, a little bit of money now and then it's gone. No, we're trying to get you to be to build a business that will give you so much in 10, 20, 30 years from now, where you evolve with your audience no matter where you are in life, and you just keep growing, and you build a whole business around, your unique unfair advantage.
Exactly. Absolutely. Okay. So just a general overview here again about what's kind of expected of you along your journey here. So this mentorship program is designed to be completed over 12 weeks. So you've already seen the breakdown of how those 12 weeks are separated, but it is going to be approximately 90 days. You have lifetime access to the training videos and all resources provided. So you will be given a login for kind of a back-end portal, and that will be up within the next couple of hours, where you'll be able to find this first training video and the resources and action steps that we are giving you. From here on out until the end of time, you will have that area to log in. So if you ever want to go back and rewatch the videos, relook at those resources, you always have the opportunity to do so. Every week, you should attend the group mentoring call at 12 p.m. EST. So the call that you're on right this very moment, please make sure that you make that a priority, put that in your calendar, that you are here for those 90 minutes every single week until the end of the program. B, please attend your one-on-one mentoring call at your designated time. So Andres would have likely already given you your time slot for every single week, which is likely on a Thursday or a Friday. And that is the chance, that's the time where you're really going to have the opportunity to ask specific questions tailored to your exact business and what you are doing. So that's the time that you get that real close one-on-one feedback and attention. So please make sure you show up for that. C, complete all weekly action steps.
This is very important.
So I can't stress this enough. I mean, again, we go back to information without implementation is useless.
Yes.
You can be on every single call, and that's wonderful. We expect you to be here, but if you don't put those into action and actually do the work that you need to do throughout that week, then you're not going to get very far, right? If we keep doing the same thing that we're doing now, we're going to get the same results. We have to do something different in order to get bigger and better results in anything, in any area of our life, whether it's health, relationships, friendships, business, finances, what have you.
Yeah.
And D, seek support and join conversation within the Slack community. So again, you do have a one-on-one call, but throughout the entire week from Monday to Friday, you also have access to us in the Slack community. You have one where you can meet with other people who are also in the program, and you can also have personal conversations with us. You're free to ask questions any time of the day there, and we promise to get back to you within 24 hours. It's usually going to be a lot less than that, but we give a 24 hours maximum on that.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I just want to touch on quickly just the impact formula once again. When you have a clear vision of your life and your business, you understand what you have to do every single day, who you need to become, and what is going to go on in your life in 3, 5, 10 years. You can grab that powerfully and migrate into the gift where you understand where your customer needs, meet your gifts and talents and unique abilities. And then when you grab those two, and you amplify it with the voice, knowing exactly how to say it, when to say it, who to say it, with authenticity, with storytelling, then you become heard. You become a signal. You become a song in a world of noise. Mm-hmm. Then you take a clear vision with your unique unfair advantage and what the market wants, with a clear voice that resonates with them, that attracts them, that makes them fall in love with who you are. And finally, you become the guide. You become the Gandalf of the story. You become the Yoda of the story. The, Neo, the Neo would be your customer. You would be Morpheus, the guy, just like, letting them know exactly what they have to do to get the results they want. And so when you put all that together, you become the authentic authority. And that is a place where your impact grows, your income grows, your time grows, and you essentially become more and more it's empowered to achieve your goals and achieve your dreams, which is absolutely amazing.
Okay, so how to approach this mentorship program? I think you actually just used an example of Frodo.
And Frodo,
there he is.
there he is.
If you are entering into this program, again, we just want to go over a few key mindsets that you have to walk in this with. So key ways to fail in this program.
How to fail? Do this.
Yes, and life, exactly. So if you want to get absolutely nothing out of this program and be in the exact same place you are right now, then do all of these.
Exactly.
So believe that life is happening to you instead of through you, and that you are merely a victim of your circumstances. So this is essentially the victim mentality, and we've all been there at some point in our life where, we've been dealt a hand of cards that, isn't so great. And whether that's from our families, whether that's from school, our countries, our friends, our social status, our government, you're going to always find things that are wrong in all of these areas, right? I know I didn't have the perfect family. I don't live in a perfect country. I don't have a perfect government. Nothing is perfect. And I can always find something that I can blame for, the troubles in my life.
Exactly.
But that's not going to get me anywhere.
No.
And if I do that, then I'm looking at life just happening to me as if I have no control over anything. You clearly don't have control over everything. I don't control what my government does, but I can control how I respond. And so we really want you to get into a mindset of, life is not happening to you. Get out of that mindset. Get out of that victim mentality. It's not happening to you. You need to take control back to the highest degree possible, at least. The second is take zero responsibility for your choices and actions and blame everyone and everything outside of yourself for where you are currently in your life. So again, just believing that, everything outside of yourself, whether it's your family, it's a circumstance in your health, maybe it is your community, it's your kids, it's your spouse, it's someone that just really made you angry today. It's their responsibility that you didn't get the extra steps done. It's their responsibility that you didn't get to the gym today. Their responsibility that you didn't get to eat some healthy food today because they didn't cook it for you.
Right.
You can take responsibility for anything and everything in your life. And look at your current situation and really try and think about, okay, how did I end up here? Maybe there's some things you're really happy about. Maybe there's some things you're not. And the things that you're not, maybe take a look back and say, that was an effect of what cause, right? What caused that to happen? And constantly keep doing that and reevaluating that in your day-to-day life. And trust me, you will start taking responsibility for every action. And the last one is never be grateful and always find something to complain about. So again, we've probably all had a bad day where, one bad thing happened and it just seemed to have a ripple effect. Now, it's not as if, God or whatever, sources out of yourself decided to throw a bunch of things at you because you stubbed your toe in the morning. And they were like, let me just throw 10 more things to really make this person angry in the rest of the day. No, those things likely would have happened anyway, but because you already were in a bad mood in the morning because of your stubbed toe, you are now just focusing, you're magnifying everything else.
Exactly. Whatever you focus on, grows. It grows and is where your energy flows.
Exactly. So if you want to approach life in that way and just have it spiral out of control and just feel like everything is just going against me and I'm going to complain about everything, you're not going to have a very good life and you're probably not going to have a very fun time in this program. That's just the truth.
Yes.
So never be grateful and always find something to complain about. That is a key way to fail in life in general.
But now let's take a look at key ways to succeed in this program and in life.
Exactly. So pretty much the exact opposite of everything we just discussed. Believe that life is being created through your own thoughts, emotions, and decisions. Again, I'm not saying you can control every single thing. If someone in your family ends up getting a chronic disease, that is, of course, not your fault. Right. You didn't do that. You couldn't control that. But you can always control how you respond to those circumstances. You can choose to, let's say you had a father maybe who was abusive in different ways. You didn't do that. That's not your fault, of course. It would never imply that that's anyone's fault outside of the person who actually did the action. But There's a reason why two people living in the same household, two children living in the same household, can grow up to be very different people.
Mm-hmm.
One can continue a cycle, and I can use my mom even as an example.
Mm-hmm.
My grandfather was an alcoholic. And I mean, if you look even in today's culture, many people will tell you, the likelihood of a child becoming an alcoholic when they're older, growing up with an alcoholic parent, is very, very high.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, my uncle, and my aunt,
Mm-hmm.
3 children in one house, not one of them became an alcoholic.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need to be your story. You don't need
Yes.
to be a statistic. Yes, it's more likely. It's more likely because most people will use that as an excuse
Mm-hmm.
to continue the same vicious cycle. So you can't control every circumstance, but you can always, always control how you react.
Yes, drill that in your brain.
Exactly. Next one, take full responsibility for your choices and actions and blame absolutely no one but yourself for where you are currently in your life and wherever you end up.
Everything is your fault.
Everything that you've done in your life is your fault. Exactly. You have to take full responsibility for that. No one can make you do anything you don't want to do. They may encourage you to do something you want to do, but unless someone has a gun to your head, no one made you do anything. It was a personal decision, right? And so it can be a tough pill to swallow. I know that. Hearing that at first was really uncomfortable. Like, how can you say that?
Yeah, you don't know my life. You don't know my circumstances. You don't know where I come from. And, the reality is we all have different cards that we're being handed, and we come from different backgrounds and different, problems, family problems, different traumas. But here's the truth. We can control how we react to every single situation. And the more you believe that it's your responsibility and that you are the creator of your own destiny, you are the creator of your own life, the more you will be able to make the right adjustments, so that even if you got handed a bad card, a bad game, you're able to take that and just literally turn it around, because
you didn't turn it into a lesson.
Exactly.
Of what not to do,
Mm-hmm.
of what not to continue.
Yes, there's always something we can learn from mistakes, and as long as you tell yourself every single day that it's your responsibility, then you will make the right adjustments. I believe that.
Exactly. You are responsible for you first, no one else. And always find something to be grateful for and desire to bless others with the many gifts, skills, and resources you possess. So again, this is connected to the previous one. Of course, you are going to be dealt many, many bad cards. And in no way, shape, or form are we saying that you are going to have an equal start to other people, because that's just not true.
Mm-hmm.
I am not implying that I have had the same start as someone who is living in sub-Saharan Africa and doesn't even have clean drinking water.
Right.
Clearly, they have a lot more to worry about in their average day, basic resources that I never have to worry about. And I am so blessed to live that life. But therefore, that gives me the opportunity to find so much to be grateful for, because I had nothing to do with where I was born. That was a pure blessing, pure luck. I didn't get to say where I was going to be born. But then that can also instill in you a drive, a desire to then bless others with all the things that you've been given.
Yes.
If you come from a family of immigrants, like Andres is the only one that lives here from his family. My dad was also an immigrant as well from Chile. If those people didn't immigrate here, we wouldn't be here right now. Right? We wouldn't be doing this. And so we have to use that as fuel to want to help people in those positions as well. And I would argue that's a moral obligation.
Yes, 1000%.
Okay, so love the journey, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Cannot stress this enough.
This is so important.
In the beginning of our entrepreneurial journey, it was, again, we were in a mindset where it was like the quicker, the better,
Right.
Magic pill. Just tell me how to get there.
You just want to get there, want to make money fast. You want to just get the results. That's it. Like, what is the one thing I need to do? And that's it. And it just doesn't work that way. We need to establish what success actually looks like, and what success just, the illusion of success that most people think it looks like.
Exactly. So we have definitely learned over the past few years that, this straight line here on the left, what people think it looks like versus what it really looks like. I mean, I remember the first time I saw this graphic and I just laughed, because it is so true.
It's so true.
We look at people, in the media, we look at people in the world, politicians, we look at someone like, Elon Musk, and we just have in our mind, we always see is their immediate success where they are right now. But what you don't see, and what most people don't ever share, is what it took for them to finally get there.
Exactly.
The struggle, the risks, the failure, the doubts, the criticism, the discipline, the sacrifices, the rejections, the late nights, the persistence, and the hard work. All of those things, which is what really makes up the journey. That is what true success is. Because
and you need to love it.
And exactly, you need to love the journey.
It's so hard, but you need to start working on that now.
Exactly. Every day you have to love it, the challenge. Because I think what we didn't realize before was that, we thought that if we just got the end results, that was the pie. That was the whole freaking pie. And now we think that's just the cherry on top of the pie. The journey is the pie. Right. Every single day is it. And why? Because the challenges are making us who we have to become.
Exactly. Yeah.
We have goals that if we hypothetically were in that situation, in that position of authority and power, we wouldn't be ready.
Yeah.
Our 10-year goal, we wouldn't be ready. I'm not the person I have to be to run that kind of NGO.
And we'll go into that.
I'm not there yet.
Mm-hmm.
I have a lot to learn along the way. Yes. So I need to love every journey and every mistake, every learning experience right now, right where I am. And I just want to clarify before we move on to anything else within mindset that the difference between mistakes and failure it's a drastic difference. Failure is, in my mind, something extremely different. As humans, our greatest fears are death and public humiliation.
Wow.
For this reason, we would rather stay within the confines of what is known and familiar. Even, and usually, that means what is familiar is incredibly damaging to ourselves and those around us, instead of changing and possibly facing embarrassment and rejection. And in majority of my life, I can say this is absolutely true. I would imagine all of these hypothetical scenarios of like the worst possible scenarios. What is the worst possible thing someone could say about me when I do this? What is the worst possible, injury I could have if I jump off this cliff? That's where the human mind goes. We fear death and we fear looking like an idiot in front of other people. We just hate that feeling. We don't want to look stupid by any means necessary. And unfortunately, that leaves us in our comfort zone and doesn't push us to grow, and we end up living a very mediocre life often because of that. You will make mistakes. You will make mistakes. It's not if, it's when.
It's when.
You'll make hundreds, thousands, maybe millions of mistakes, and that is absolutely okay. It's normal. It's an inherent part of growth and change. Failure, on the other hand, is never taking action, never taking a risk, and giving into defeat permanently. Mistakes and failure are two very different things. So again, in my mind, failure, all that actually means is you've given up, or you've never even started.
Yeah.
You just decided, I can't do this. I can't and I won't do this.
Exactly.
A mistake is, oops, looks like this didn't go very well. All right, well, how can I see what did I do wrong? How can I improve this? And you try again.
That's right.
That's what a mistake is. And you cannot expect exceptional results by being mediocre, by doing what 99% of people in the world are doing. The people that make the lasting impact in the world are not the ones who are the most talented. They're not the ones who are the most intelligent. And they're not even the ones that are most compassionate. They're the ones who are the most persistent. They're the ones who love their vision so strongly that failure simply isn't an option. So they may be talented. Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, very talented people, very intelligent people, even very compassionate people. But nonetheless, it is the person who is the most persistent that is the one that will succeed in the end. And so we just have a couple quotes here by Albert Einstein and Thomas Edison. I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that don't work. Imagine, even that is hard for me to comprehend. Making a mistake 10,000 times and still looking at that as not a failure. I haven't found the right way yet. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about putting on the new self. And I love this image because it is literally something that's going to be happening every single day. You're going to have a force within you that's going to be trying to, force you down, which is represented on the left, that dark force, that evil force. And on the other side, you have, the part of you that wants to succeed, that wants to, achieve great things. And so, you need to win this battle like every single day. So what seems very painful to you now will soon become normal and a daily habit because of who you will become. Trust the process. Just trust the process. You will know that it's, designed to help you succeed, but you need to just get in the habit of knowing that what is painful to you now will soon become normal, because you will become a new version of yourself, which is absolutely key.
And you'll begin to crave those new habits,
Exactly.
that new version of yourself.
Exactly.
You'll feel like you're not doing enough when you don't reach that.
Yes. So I want to talk about a little bit about putting on the new self. What does that actually look like, and what's the alchemy of self? Okay, the alchemy of self is the transformation of who you are now to who you need to become in order to achieve your dreams and fulfill your vision effortlessly. Okay, and I say effortlessly because it would be effortlessly. Okay, if I were to ask you, could you have done what you have done and what you have achieved today? Maybe buying a house, maybe getting married, maybe finishing your master's, or whatever accomplishment you've done in your life. You couldn't have done it 5 years before that, 10 years before that, because you weren't who you needed to be to achieve that effortlessly. You didn't have the knowledge, you didn't have the routines, you didn't have the values, you didn't have any of these different things.
The life experience.
That's right. That's right. So please get rid of the old self now. And I say now in capitals because that's where the new realities are created. If you're always thinking of your past, or you're always thinking of the future, believe me, what's going to happen is you will not be able to create new realities. You'll be stuck in the same old thoughts, the same old feelings, the same old actions, which will of course produce the same old results.
Exactly.
And I want to say, watch out for the identity crisis, because it will happen as an entrepreneur, as an online business owner, as a businessman in general. You will go through different periods of identity crisis where it feels like, you're becoming someone different, but it's weird because you used to have a sense of fulfillment by doing other actions or by thinking different thoughts. So we're going to talk about things like being shy versus being outgoing. You might have a certain perception of whether you're outgoing or you're shy, or the fear of rejection versus handling rejection. What does that look like? Procrastination versus getting things done now. I mean, I know that was something that I struggled with for a long time. I used to procrastinate so much, and I would say tomorrow, mañana, and honestly, it was just an excuse for not racing through some fears, not pushing through some of the things that made me feel uncomfortable. As well as the shiny object syndrome versus focus. I cannot tell you, at the beginning, I bought so many different courses, and I just didn't know if I wanted to do Amazon, or if I wanted to do e-commerce, or if I didn't know what was going to go on with me. And so that's something I found out later, that focus is doing one thing consistently over and over again. And it's way better than you trying to do a million things, or going from, opportunity to opportunity, from business model to business model, from niche to niche, because the time will come where you will feel discouraged. You will feel in pain of doing certain things, and your mind will tell you maybe it's the wrong niche, maybe it's the wrong business model, maybe the program doesn't work, maybe you suck. And I'm telling you these things now so that when they happen, you may believe and that you may be prepared to respond accordingly. Same with spirit versus flesh. We know there's a battle within us. Paul said it best. If you are familiar with Romans 7, Romans 8, talks about that struggle between, the law of sin, the law of, our bodies dwelling in us, making war within us, and always trying to put us to the other side. All right, so that is something very key to watch out. And third, your conscious versus your subconscious. Okay, your mind will tell you that he wants to do X or Y. It will tell you go left and you're trying to go right. And the truth is that you're dealing with automatic programs, okay? And what reality to create based on your thoughts, feelings, and actions. So I want to focus your attention on this monkey with the strings, because, when you go through your day to day, you have the power, and we're going to dive into this in the next couple of slides. You have the power to, whether train your body or your subconscious mind to become an automatic program, or you have the option of being a slave to that program. And one of the best examples I can think of is an athlete. Okay, an athlete, after they've trained for so long, someone like Michael Jordan, someone like, Phelps, amazing swimmer, like, it's an automatic program. They just get up, they don't question it, they don't debate it with their minds. They just get up, they get things done, they go and train whether they feel it or they don't feel it, because they don't make decisions by their feelings. And you will notice how you have certain automatic programs, like checking your phone, like going into Facebook, like scrolling, like, picking certain phone calls, or, engaging in certain things that you do every single day. And watch out for these automatic programs, because they will either govern you, or they will either, essentially just sabotage you. So yes, we will get into this stuff now. So what is, or who is the biggest enemy? And I love this image because, it's almost like this faceless man with a mask, with someone that you don't know their true colors, and they can surprise you anytime and bring you down. So the enemy is the old self, is your former way of thinking, is literally the past of who you are up until this point. Because once again, what brought you here is not going to get you to where you need to go. Mm-hmm. So the old self is the familiar past, the comfort our flesh wants, the part of us that self-sabotages us, the part of us that is always stuck in the painful past or in the worrisome future. Here are other symptoms that you can watch out when the enemy is creeping. You're getting distracted, something that you shouldn't do. I know that was a big thing for me, and I've had to force myself to, put my phone in silence, like go dark, like put on music, whatever you have to do to not get distracted.
For the modern day person, that is definitely most likely technology.
Huge.
It's probably social media, text messages, and the list goes on. Anything with your technology, watch out for those kind of distractions and how they are more than likely not benefiting you most of the time, or not very urgent.
Exactly. You will, of course, have doubts. We talked about that. We talked about fear of the unknown. You don't know how it's going to pan out. You don't know if campaigns are going to be successful or not. You can obviously work to a point where you feel very comfortable, where you have all the right pieces, but you still don't know the outcome. So the unknown is always scary. Of course, worries and stress, your fight or flight response. Most people live 70% of their life, of their time, in this, emotional response. And it's crazy, because honestly, it's the one thing that sabotages people, because, nothing good comes out of stress and scarcity and fear. Think about it. When was the last time you made a decision out of fear that turned out well for you? Probably never. Always the decisions that you make with faith, that you make with confidence, that you make with excitement, those are the ones that turn the best. So the fight or flight response, very important to avoid. And we're going to talk about the science of it just in 1 second. But just notice when you go through your day looking for instant gratification, where you feel like you want it now, you're like impatient, you know what's going on, and you have this lack of self-control. Watch out for that, because it will sabotage you, and your mind's going to want to take breaks when you don't need breaks, and go eat and have do things when you don't need them. And so self-control is something that is a long time process, because even people, athletes, and even monks, and even spiritual leaders of all kinds, learn that self-control is saying no to your flesh, to your instant gratification,
to your monkey mind,
in order to gain something in the future. So this is something really, really cool. Something that I learned from one of the guys that I've learned so much. His name is John Paul Jackson, and always I believe in giving credit to whom credit's due. And he talked about these 10 giants, the 10 giants to conquer. And this just has helped me put it all into one sheet where you can look at the major problems. And we know that Joshua, in the book of Joshua, he had to face all 10 of these nations. God told them, here is the promised land I want to give you, but you must first face these 10 giants in your life. 3 of them you can conquer by yourself, but the other 7 you cannot. And really, all of them you shouldn't on your own. You should just rely on those automatic programs that you will create with consistency, where you learn to be grateful, where you are seeking guidance, every single day from God, because you do not want to feel completely confused or stuck in this. So let's just take a look at this very quickly. Number one are the Kenites, and these are the fabricator or lies. World of lies, we're exposed to just like bad advice all the time, and you got to be watching for this, and also in your own life, so that you don't tell yourself lies, things that aren't true about your worth, about your value, about your business, because it will happen. Your mind will tell you that you suck when you don't suck.
That's
those are lies.
The biggest lies you're gonna have to face are the ones that are in your own head.
Exactly.
You're repeating lies every single day that tell you you're not enough.
Exactly.
That you'll never make it. It doesn't even matter. Absolutely the biggest ones you have to keep on fighting.
Exactly. Then we got the Kenizzites, which is the being possessive or the covetousness. And again, this one also, it will happen because you will be scrolling down your social media, looking at other people's results, and there will be a part of you that will say, oh, I wish I had that. And you'll start comparing yourself. Careful. 3, the Cadmonites. This goes into the religious spirit, stuck in tradition, stuck in doing things the same exact way, with judgment, with opinion, with debate, and legalism. Okay, this is something very true, especially in the Mexican culture, like where I come from. People are so used to doing things a certain way and so comfortable in that they cannot, break out of it.
Right, because this is how it's always been done, so it must be right.
It must be right.
Well, if we look back in history, there are a lot of things that were done for hundreds of years, like slavery, to name one. That doesn't mean that it was okay. It was tradition. It was normal for people that evidently didn't make it okay. Just because something's been done for many years doesn't mean it's not time to make improvements and change.
Exactly. Number 4 are the Hittites. And this is specifically have to do with fear of failure, terror, and anything that drives and derives from fear is something that it's very particular to this nation and the way that is described and what the name means. So watch out for that. Watch out for the parasites, where it's now being comfortable. We talked about conformity and being a squatter. 6 is the Amorites, the self-doubt. We also talked about this, but it's amazing to see it here with true and tried concepts and battles and giants that not only Joshua had to face, but every single human being today needs to face through this and conquer them if you really want to be successful in any way. Number 7 is Rephaim. And this is when you run away from problems. It's too big to conquer. We saw in the Bible, once again, the King Saul, he used to run away from people's opinions because he was afraid of men, afraid of what other people might think of him. And he would just turn the other way and hope it would go away. That is not the way to approach it. 8 are the Canaanites. And these are the zealous, premature, impulsive. This kind of has to do with the lack of patience as well, and just like going at it, and you're not prepared yet. You're not prepared, and you will think that emotion and that impulsiveness is okay, but it's not. You need to be able to discern the difference. Number 9 are the Girgashites. Is this when you feel out of place, you feel unwelcome, you feel like you don't belong. And you will feel like that because entrepreneurship is a lonely road. So please be prepared for it. Be prepared for it if you're just starting, or if you are already, been in it for a while, then you know how this is like. Keep it in check, because don't think that something's wrong with you. Your mind will try to tell you that, but it's not. This is just part of it.
You're an imposter.
Yeah.
That everyone else has it all together.
Exactly.
Everyone else knows what they're doing, and I'm the only one that doesn't. That is probably one of the biggest lies.
Exactly.
Nobody knows what they're doing all the time, and most of the time we don't know.
Exactly.
We only know one step ahead of our nose.
That's right.
Just the way it is.
That's right. And 10, anxiety, depression, lack and scarcity. Very common, where you don't feel you have enough, or you feel like it's gonna go away, or that for some reason it just won't be what you need, or you won't measure up. And this obviously causes anxiety. That causes depression when you start feeling hopeless. Jebusites, be careful. So this 10, always keep them in check, so you know where you're lacking, or maybe this different ones will be presented in different days, and you have to spot them, because when you spot it and when you can name it, then you can control it. You can pray about it. You can do something about it. So, first and foremost, that self-awareness of where you're at and what you're battling with will be key. Which giants do you need to conquer is what I ask you today, out of this 10. So, take some time to write down which giants are those, so you can start getting prepared to face those when the time comes where they'll try to pull you down. And we talked about who you need to become. So this is, a really cool graphic, because it explains your current situation, where you're now, the amount of money you're making, the situation you're in life, whether you're married, you have kids, you're starting. This is your current situation, the now, which is attached to your current character, who you are today, what you believe, your values, your skills, your routines, all these different things. But guess what? There is this gap, this huge gap that is right in the middle between who you are right now and who you need to become, because your current situation right now is going to look very different than your dream life. And your current character is going to look very different than your new character. So you need to take the time to define this. You need to become your new character to achieve your dreams. That is something that I cannot stress enough, because it's not so much. And even in the eyes of God, he doesn't care so much about the car, the house, the money. He cares about who you are becoming, because that is what matters the most. Because when you become who you need to be to manage millions of dollars, or to manage, people, or to manage, employees, and maybe you have an organization that you're passionate, or a charity, like these things are resources that God will be entrusting you with. So if you're not who you need to become, if you're not faithful in the little, how can you be faithful in much, says the word as well. So keep this in mind. That gap is where you need to bridge that gap. And the cool thing is that we have some hacks here for you on how you can bridge the gap. Now you can start thinking of this new character and start living it, because guess what? Our minds do not know the difference between what is happening in an external world and what's happening in our internal world. So we want to challenge you to become supernatural by creating your own reality, by renewing the mind every day through daily meditation, stillness, visualization, and prayer. We'll go deeper into these things, but know that they are things that you should do every day, because when you are able to slow down your brain waves, and we'll talk about the science of reprogramming in a second, but when you're able to do that, you can access the subconscious, access those automatic programs that we talked about, and hack them, rewire them, intercept them, so that you think differently about the world.
Become aware of them. So probably like an easy example is this. Maybe you're trying to change your diet, right? Maybe you're trying to eat a healthier diet, you're trying to eat more vegetables, but you're so used to living a lifestyle where you don't do that, where you eat sweets all day and you eat, high fat foods all day. And so you find yourself reaching for the fridge, not even consciously thinking about it, and grabbing, a pastry.
Right.
And then you catch yourself. You can become conscious in that moment, whereas before you might have just not even thought about it. You're like, This is normal. This is what I do. But now, with a new level of consciousness, and you've made the decision, I'm going to change it, when your body goes to do the same old thing that you've always done, you can catch it. You can stop it. And you can choose to do something different.
Yes.
And that's what this is all about, making conscious decisions, not letting your body, your subconscious mind, your monkey mind rule your conscious mind, because it likely is in many different respects that you're not even currently aware of. This was the case for us for a very long time, and we're still discovering new things that we're doing on autopilot that are not beneficial. And we've got to keep catching them.
Keep catching those. Yeah, we do so many things in autopilot because we've always done them. We'll always think them, that we don't really question them, and sometimes it's really good to do that. Let me just show you quickly, when something happens to you, let's say that you get married. This event happens in your life, and there's this filtering system that we all have based on our languages, your values, your memories. Of course, it's going to mean something different if you've been married to you than if you haven't been married. The attitudes, the decisions, the beliefs, your made-up programs, which is all your questions and how you filter things. Like, this is the mechanism that God gave us. And when they go through this, when any experience comes and goes through this filtering system, there's an automatic deletion, distortion, and generalization that happens. Those create your internal representations, which is simply a fancy way to say, the way you envision it, what they mean to you. And what they mean to you will, of course, affect your state, whether you feel good or you feel bad about it. If you're getting married, it's probably amazing. If you just fail or a test or something, you are going to feel horrible. And that's going to produce your state, which will produce your physiology, which is what you do with your body specifically, and how your body responds to these chemicals that your state produced.
Right. So if your state is, let's say, joyful,
right,
your physiology is probably going to be, smiling, standing up straight.
Exactly.
If you are in a state where you're feeling very anxious and you're very nervous, it's likely your shoulders are going to be slumped over. Your face is more serious.
You're going to be antsy. You're going to be
sweating. You're maybe shaking a bit. And it and then the physiology just goes into the behavior and it goes back into a vicious cycle. The physiology just keeps reinforcing the same state over and over again.
Exactly. And of course, that's going to produce your behavior. So, we want you to remember this graph because you want to be able to hack things at the representation, what they mean in this side or in your state or in your physiology. Because when you intercept those things, you can change the way that you behave and that you act. And that's the key to this reprogramming thing. Mm-hmm. All right. So just know that we are limitless. We are the creation of God. We are not physical bodies bound to earth by gravity with a hopeless existence. A waveform experiencing a consciousness and what we perceive to be reality is simply a magnificent illusion. Science has proven this. What we're living every single day is just a projection, light and the way it works. It's so much more complex. So know that matter is not all there is, and you can shape your own reality. And the more that you remember that, the more that you can start implementing it. We create our own realities through our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Again, the mind does not know the difference between an internal experience or an external experience, especially when it's vivid, when it's lucid. We are not the highest version of ourselves which we can imagine. Note, we are the lowest version of ourselves which we can accept. So if you want to achieve your dreams and goals, you must turn them into irrefutable standards. Understand that you will do nothing to achieve your dreams, but fight like hell not to breach your standards, okay? The best example I can think about is people's banks accounts, okay? And we all know what we need, to survive in 1 month. Maybe let's say it's $3,000 or $5,000. That's your minimum, and you will fight like hell not to, breach that you always have that money, because if not, that you don't,
you don't need,
the consequences are huge. But it's funny because even though you might be wanting to make $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a month or more, we don't fight as much. We don't want it as much. And so something good to remember, because when you can make them your standards, you will unlock a whole new level of consistency. So be constantly aware of your own patterns of existence. As humans, we're constantly in conflict between the person we are right now, like we said, and the person we want to become. The two selves are often at war with each other and create a waveform-like pattern of highs and lows. Different vibrations and incoherent brainwaves will sabotage your growth and your focus. So you're always in constant battle between that past experience, that past chemicals that your body is always wanting you to give it. If you are so used to every single day watching Netflix for 2-3 hours, your body, of course, is going to do that. And you're going to feel weary if you don't. Push through that. If you're used to checking your phone so much and spending time on social media or, eating certain things that are not good for you, like those things, your body will ask for them because they're familiar. They're the familiar past.
Or even being sad.
Yeah.
If something has happened in your life that's made you very, you're so used to constantly replaying the event in your mind. And so that makes you feel anxious and depressed. And then all of a sudden, the next day, you have an experience with someone else and you're really happy and joyful. And that's kind of like your brain's like, wait a minute, are you supposed to be sad and upset right now? Mm-hmm. And you'll find a way to feel like that again throughout that day. It's crazy. We think that we always would want to be in a better mood, but that's not always the case.
Right.
If we're used to being anxious, we're used to being sad, we're used to being down on ourselves all the time, your mind, because it is used to it and it's familiar, it will find a way to do that even when you aren't in that current state. It's crazy that we do that to ourselves.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy. So watch that out. So we are beings of light. And that is just the truth. Everything is in constant motion. Everything is energy. And when we can start looking at things in this light, literally and figuratively, we'll be able to access new realities in our lives. And here's the thing. To some, this may all seem strange at first. But the truth is that we have particles of the Creator and are made in His image. We are capable of accomplishing anything. So believe this. And when you learn how to reprogram your brain with everything that is good and fruitful, and unlearn, very key, the automatic behaviors that hinder you, then you will win. It's a very simple formula that looks like this. Clarity of vision plus belief plus an intense feeling, because it's really real to you and it's very vivid in your imagination, plus repetition forms what people call in science a new neural pathway, which is something that our brain automatically does every single day, every single time that we make new connections. You learn new things, you make new neural pathways. In fact, your brain is making a new neural pathway as you learn and as you go through this module and this lesson. But here's what I want you to know. There's 5 type of brain waves that science has proven we engage in throughout different things that we do in our lives. Beta is your awake, normal consciousness. But when our betas get high, like in the 30 hertz, we do not function well. Our fight and flight response starts going, cortisol and chemicals start going all over the place. And this will, if you're in these betas for way too long, you'll start to manifest different sicknesses because your body's not used to being in this all the time for that long.
Right, because we are different in animals in that sense, right? Mm-hmm. Animals do go into a fight or flight, state of mind. Let's say, like the example we heard a few days ago, if the deer is going through the forest, all of a sudden it starts being chased by a pack of coyotes, mm-hmm. the deer is going to go into a flight or fight mode. But as soon as she's free from that situation and she's safe, she's going to go back to completely normal.
Exactly.
Her beta waves are going to go completely normal. She's going to start grazing again, and she's going to forget about that experience and not keep reliving it in her head.
She's not going to keep worrying about what's going to happen next time.
Exactly. Humans, on the contrary,
yes.
we keep reliving these situations in our minds that keep us stressed. And again, your brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and real life. And so to your brain, if you're rethinking about that situation, your body believes that you are actually experiencing it again in reality. Yes. There's no difference.
Yes.
That's a scary thing.
It is a scary thing.
You don't know that.
Yes. And so we're talking about all this, reprogramming and hacking, all those different things. So how does it actually look like, or how does our brain work? And this is where our alpha waves come in, where you're relaxed, where you are, going into a more drowsy state, where you're not like, your brain is not thinking a million thoughts per second. Like you are experiencing calmness and peace. And when you go into these alpha waves, you're able to access more of your subconscious, because here's the reality. Here's the truth about the situation. The only thing that's dividing your conscious from your subconscious mind is the analytical mind. And when you can shut off that part of you and access the infinite possibilities of being creative, and that your right side of the brain, but in peace and tranquility with these alpha waves, this is when you can start reprogramming new things of what you want for your life. Delta, even lower. This is when we're now into like deep meditation, which is amazing. If you can get into delta, like it's proven, and science has proven that your brain waves will act more coherently. You will have more focus, clarity of thought. And how many of us have experienced at least once in our lives just this complete sense of peace and bliss and awe? And it's just the best state to be, because that's when you're creative, that's when you're passionate, that's when you're in your best state of mind. Not when you're in high beta waves. That's like stress. Like no one wants that. And of course, theta, we know, is when you are sleeping, your REM sleep, which we know the automatic body, that's when your body like literally heals itself you get the rest. You get every part of you that starts acting in agreement with this sign of nature. So when you're able to manually induce yourself to go into these lower brain waves, and you have clarity of vision because you're seeing it in your mind, your imagination, you have a specific belief of what you want to happen and what you think is true. You have a very strong feeling of love, gratitude, and appreciation. And you do it for 10, 20, 30, an hour every single day of your life, or maybe even multiple times a day. Then these neurological pathways will be so strong that it's going to become easy. I know this might sound crazy for some of you guys, but I'm telling you, we've seen it work so well in our lives, and things that used to be super hard are so much easier now. And so trust the process, trust that this is how we are wired, and God made us like this for a reason. And of course, gamma waves is when you have a heightened perception, when you're just so like concentrated in your main craft, in your, the best example I can put is it's a high performance athlete, or even someone in, some sort of performance of art of some kinds, where it just requires for them to be so immersed in the task that they even forget the world around you, around them. Those are gamma waves. So that's really something we want to stress about, and we want to go into the action steps for week 1, where you'll take what you've learned in this lesson about the current self, the new self. Like, we want this week to be a week where you build a strong foundation on how you're wired and who you are, so you are crystal clear on who you need to become, the habits you need to delete and move away from your life. Because here's the thing, here's what my wife and I have found by working with people. Most people think that they know what they need to do, but in reality there's a part of us that is sabotaging us. So you need to get even more granular, and your mind will tell you this is not fun to do. This is not productive. Your mind will try to get you away from doing this exercise, but push through, because you need to go through the personality test. You need to calibrate exactly who you are and make this happen.
Okay, so the specific action steps for week 1, therefore. Number 1 is complete the Myers-Briggs personality test. Now, you may or may not have already done this personality test before. If you haven't, it's amazing. Obviously, your personality is not the only part of you, but it is a major part of you. It is there are parts that are natural to you from nature, and there are also things that have come into your life from the environment that you've grown up in. Nonetheless, this is an amazing tool to use to become increasingly aware of who you are, at least right now, who that current self is, who that old self is, and what kind of person you have the potential of greatly becoming. It gives you an array of different strengths and weaknesses, and how you are in relationships, and what kind of career paths you really excel in and which ones you may not. And so it's really just about raising your awareness, and it's very insightful. So with that is the first step that you need to do this week in your action steps. Number 2 is to complete the Calibrating the Current Self worksheet. Again, this is going to give you more insight on who you are in this exact moment, what the strengths and weaknesses are, what habits you have that are benefiting you and which ones are not. And it's going to really roll nice out from that personality test. Mm-hmm. Number 3 is complete Becoming Supernatural, the New Self worksheet. So this is now, starting to really take a step into thinking, like, who is it that I want to become? If this is a business I have in mind, if these are life goals that I have in mind, who is the kind of person, what identity do I have to proclaim in my life? And even though it may seem really far away right now and maybe really scary to become that person, we really want you to dare to dream, dare to go there, dare to really think about and step into, imagining who you are in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years. Because that's probably not something you've actually had a great deal of time really immersing yourself in. And that's such an important part of your personal growth and transformation in this program and in your overall future. Number 4 is record a 3 to 5 minute video of yourself sharing what you learned, what you found challenging, and what you enjoyed about week 1. So this can literally just be you grabbing your iPhone and, you know, recording yourself for 2 to 5 minutes, just discussing how the week went. You know, what was maybe the major takeaways for you, the biggest things that you remembered. What was something that you were really uncomfortable with? Maybe it was a question in one of the worksheets that you're like, whoa, that was a really challenging question. I never really thought of asking myself that. And it was really hard to get an answer.
Yeah.
And just what you enjoyed. So what was something that you thought, wow, that was an amazing exercise. That was an amazing piece of insight. That was something that I can see really transforming my life and changing my outlook on life from here on out.
Yes.
And it could be anything that you really enjoyed.
1000%.
And just a quick note here. So you will do a weekly debrief video, that 3 to 5 minute video at the end of every week for every one of the 12 weeks in the program. And basically this will allow you to document your own personal journey of growth and transformation.
It's going to be really cool.
And it will also allow you to begin creating authentic content. So basically just you jumping on camera, getting used to being on camera, to hearing your voice on camera, to seeing your face on camera, and enjoying, you know, being able to look back at the journey and, you know, just seeing that transformation kind of week by week and how your character grew, how you changed the person that you've become at the end of the 12 weeks. And you'll be surprised how much growth you will probably see. Yep. And we want you to please post this weekly debrief video every week within the Authentic Authority Slack community by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. and that's EST, Eastern Time, every single week. So we're counting that as the absolute end of the week. Monday morning, that's when the new week goes into action. So as long as you get that video in the Slack community by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. EST, we would really appreciate that. And I think you'll really, although it may be stepping in your comfort zone a bit, we think you're really going to get a lot out of that documentation journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 1000%. And something else, just so you know, when it comes to doing a lot of this mindset stuff, you know, it's not going to come natural to you. And I know I've said this multiple times, but I want you to know that it's okay to feel that it's weird or that you might not have the best answers, but I want you to just do it as best as possible, because this literally is one of the secret hacks that we never did for a long time. We were wondering why things were so complicated, but when we started embracing the fact that it is possible to rewire your brain, it is possible to train your body to do anything, and for you to become whoever you need to become to achieve, you know, what God has put in your heart, your vision, your purpose, your calling. Believe me, you will not have that calling or that vision if God didn't give you already everything you need to succeed. If He didn't have already equipped you with everything you need in your DNA, in who you are as a machine, as a human being, to achieve this. So take it super, super seriously, because if you are able to focus not on the money, not on the business, but on who you need to become first and foremost, and becoming supernatural and unstoppable, believe me, it's going to be an easy, or a lot easier ride than if you just ignore this stuff and you just want to get to the tactical. Most people do that. Most people half sort of do this exercise. They don't take it seriously. And take it from us, we have failed many times because we skipped the mindset stuff, and we skipped these crucial exercises because we just think they're psychology, or they're cool, you know, things, or fluffers, or just fillers. They're not fillers. This literally is the difference between succeeding and failing, because if you are who you need to become, then the actions are going to flow, and believe me, the customers will roll and the money will roll as a result of that new self. Just remember that and believe it.
Right. Because again, we take the Authentic Authority from a very holistic view. We could give you all the tactics. We could give you all of the...
We used to do that.
Yeah, just the mechanics.
And we didn't see enough results.
Of online funnels, and we've been through those. Like you said, we've been through those, and it wasn't enough for us. We had so many of our own limiting beliefs, so many of our own bad habits that wouldn't even allow us to do the work, to do the tactical work.
I know. We wouldn't even get to it.
We started this program with the mindset, with the vision, for a very specific reason. It's very intentionally put here before we go into any of that. So please take it for what it is. Know that we've been through this before. We've been through this before. We fought this battle with our mind. And so Yes, really take these action steps seriously, but have fun with it too. Like,
Yeah.
really enjoy diving into getting to know yourself.
Yeah.
And daring yourself to dream.
Yeah, for sure. So I just want to end with a really cool, quote. It's one of my favorite verses when it comes to all this, conversation, because we know that this is true. We know that it not only agrees with science and the brain waves and the science of, neurological pathways, but also with the spiritual aspect of it, where, this is the way that God created us. And Paul says this in Ephesians. It says to put off your old self, which belongs to your former manner of life and is corrupt through deceitful desires, and to be renewed in the spirit of your minds. That renewal is that reprogramming. Literally, that renewing is that reprogramming. And that's why it says renewed in the spirit of your minds, because the spirit is that creator part. It's not the one that lives in the past. Paul says, look forward to the things that are ahead. Run as though you may obtain the prize, like literally with all your being. And to put on the new self, created after the likeness of God. Right there, he's telling you that the new self is created after the likeness of God. So you are created in the image of God, in true righteousness and holiness. So God has given you everything you need to succeed. Dare to dream big. Dare to become someone that you've never become before. And believe me, your dreams will come true. Your lifestyle will start shaping according to that. So just keep seeking, the will of the Father. Keep putting off your old self every single day. This happens every single day, and put on the new self.
And it's a conscious decision.
Every
day you have to make the choice again and again. And the good news is that choice becomes easier every single day, and eventually this becomes your new way of being,
your new automatic program, like we were saying. Exactly. Right? So battle to become that automatic program. Condition your mind, your body, your emotions to want the righteousness, to want the holiness. And believe me, when we give you some more of the tacticals of creating content or making a funnel or talking to people or going out there and getting clients or growing your tribe, like, it's going to be a lot easier, because you're going to be so much more empowered, because you are who you need to become, and you're already adopting the love, the passion, the excitement, the joy, and that's going to be contagious to your tribe and to the people that you're trying to attract. So just trust the process. I can't stress enough. Trust the process, because if I could go back in time, I would have given myself this, and I would have make sure it was drilling my brain instead of ignoring it like I did for the first year or so, where we just wanted to get to the money, get to the tactical, and it just does not work that way. So, embrace this, have fun with it, and that's basically it.
Exactly. Enjoy the journey. So we really hope that this lesson in week 1 was really helpful for you, that you learned something new about
excited
yourself.
about this program.
Exactly, that you're excited to start learning about who that new self, like who you can become, what your capabilities are, and really have fun with getting to know that and crafting that vision. Again, next week we're going to get much more granular on what that greater vision is, but for now, please do those action steps and take your time. Go through them with patience, have an open mind, and be willing to grow, learn, and transform each and every day.
Yes, 100%. All right, so I hope you have an awesome week. I'll see you in your one-on-one coaching call or with one of our coaches. And I just hope that you use Slack, use the resources. Like, don't be afraid to, if there's something in this lesson that didn't make sense, that maybe contradicts something that you believe already, like, just send us a message. We're just literally a message away, through Slack, and post your results, post your videos, post your sheets, in the private channel if you don't want to do it, but just a good way to be accountable and for you to be, making progress. Because believe me, most people think that it's 80% tactical, 20% mindset. I tell you, it's probably like 90% mindset, 10% tactical, or 80-20 at the very least. So I hope you really have an awesome week and you make this happen.
Exactly. Best of luck, guys, and we will talk to you soon.
Take care.